So the first of the yamas is ahimsa, nonviolence, non-harming. Ahimsa is really important because it's like the first step. It's step one of step one, right? The yamas are step one in the eight limb path of yoga. It's laid out in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and Ahimsa is the first yama. So before we ever roll out a mat, we're practicing non-harm. And it's really kind of cool because as a counselor, there's this intersection here, right? Because counselors have this duty to do no harm. And we see that, like, step one as a mental health worker is that you always want to have this unconditional positive regard for your clients and you want to do no harm. And then here we are with yoga. Step one is do no harm. And so we see that in many practices and in many systems of belief throughout the world, step one is do no harm. And sometimes we may inadvertently hurt someone, unconsciously hurt someone, be unaware that we've hurt someone. But we never want to intentionally hurt someone. And we want to actually put awareness and energy into doing all we can not to harm someone. And so it's really about having that level of awareness and that discipline, that self-discipline, that it's like when I wake up every day, I'm setting this intention that may today I be kind to everyone. Today, may I not harm anyone. Today, may I show up in this world with kind, loving energy, and may I spread that kindness to everyone who I come in contact with and do my best not to harm anyone. And, also with Ahimsa, there's this piece of self-love, right? A lot of times we're harming ourselves more than anyone else. We're self-sabotaging without knowing it. We're practicing negative self-talk, all kinds of things. So the first thing is to do no harm to yourself. And then you're able to step out in the world and kind of extend that grace to everyone. And so Ahimsa is oftentimes, it's defined as non-violence, like a very accurate translation. But the expanded definition and more of the actual meaning is non-harming. And if you look at the Sanskrit root word, himsa, H-I-M-S-A, himsa, means harm. And anytime you have an A in front of a word in Sanskrit, it means non. So with the A in front of himsa, we're talking about non-harm. So although you'll often hear that ahimsa is non-violence, the clearer definition here is non-harm. Anytime we see that A, it means non. So we know we're talking about non-harming here. And so we're not just talking about refraining from physical violence. We do, of course, want to refrain from physical violence, but we're also talking about not harming anyone emotionally, not harming anyone mentally. We want to be kind to others. There's just like that sense of you never know what someone's going through, so be kind. You may have the opportunity, you may be the only person that extends kindness to another person. So think about that. The first principle of yoga is non-harm. And so part of Ahimsa too, I believe, is we don't want to react to others with judgment and criticism. We don't want to be overly critical of people. We want to be able to respond in love and kindness. We want to try to accept what we find in each day and in each person that we interact with. And remember, it's very important to extend the practice of ahimsa to yourself as well, not just to others. And self-love, self-acceptance can be very hard, but it's a practice that we totally need to embody. And we want to live in a way where we're not thinking negative thoughts and being judgmental of ourselves or of other people. In this way, we can live in harmony within and also in harmony with others. In the presence of one, firmly established in nonviolence, all hostility ceases. This is Sutra 235 from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And I really think this just means that when we're practicing non-harm, we're practicing ahimsa, and we're really able to tap into that practice as a regular part of who we are, we're living our lives in a way that we're walking constantly in this spirit of kindness and this spirit of harmony. And it's going to eventually become second nature to think only kind thoughts. It won't even feel right in your body if you start catching yourself thinking negative thoughts about yourself or about others, because it is a practice. And like all practices, you have to practice. You have to show up. You have to raise your awareness by doing. And so the more that you train yourself that, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm living, it becomes part of who you are. So how does Ahimsa look on the mat? Well, it's about accepting what you find and being gentle with yourself, not being overly critical, not being judgmental, not doing any harm to yourself, no negative self-talk. So when you roll out your mat and you're practicing, if there's a certain posture that's not working for you today, be gentle with yourself. You don't want to judge yourself. You don't want to think badly of yourself, or I used to be able to do this and now it's not working, or why won't my body open in this space, or why can't I find balance in this way? And Ahimsa encourages us to just accept what we find on the mat and embrace it and love it. Love our bodies for everything that they do for us, without thinking negatively about them, without looking at what they're not doing for us. We want to look at what they are doing for us. And we want to embrace that. Be kind to ourselves. Give yourself what you need, whatever that is, If practice looks like child's pose for 20 minutes, then take child's pose for 20 minutes. If practice looks like sitting and breathing, maybe that's practice for the day. But Ahimsa encourages us to accept, to honor, and to do no harm to ourselves or to others.